Okay, this is part two on the kitchen ceiling project. So this is my stove and this is the kitchen ceiling above it. I have been washing this to remove grease and oil contamination or stains or whatever you want to call it. Now I know that this doesn't always photograph well because it's just a more or less a flat white surface. It doesn't necessarily focus on the texture, but I notice sometimes it does. So you can see, should be able to see the blotchiness of the area that I've been cleaning, which is generally lighter or whiter than, let's say, the area that's further out that I haven't been cleaning. So what I'm going to do, it seems to be doing something, so I like that. I'm gonna wash it again with the TSP, this time out to a greater distance, possibly about double that distance, just to get that clean, because there does seem to be also some grease out further, probably. Now, another thing I've noticed, and when I look close, I can see, let me see if I get a good example, some pitting of the surface. And that is very small holes. Okay, and that might have just been from all the scrubbing. I don't know exactly. But my guess is I'm going to need to paint this because after doing this, my guess is I will probably have prepared a fresh surface that will probably simply absorb the oils more easily even than what it was. See, in another area, I don't think I see that type of small pits where the plaster seems to have come off. Part of it is when I scrub it, for example, the pieces of sand will come off. And the pieces of sand are areas are prominent areas that actually darken because they seem to be where the grease collects. And when you knock those off, underneath them can be a pit that needs to be filled in with something. Now, my hope is that I simply fill it in with paint, and that's no big deal. If you could clean it without ever knocking off any of this sand, that would actually probably be advisable. Although when I was first doing it, since the prominent sandy points were the worst, I more or less was happy to knock those off. And in some cases, when they fall off, it doesn't leave a pit underneath, but I think in some cases it does. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wash this down. I'm probably going to wash out, I'll wash out a much larger area, and then I'll probably put a coat of paint on it. I'll possibly try painting, for example, I have some ceiling paint here that I've used in an upstairs bathroom project. The bathroom project I did, my concern was mildew, and I was using bleach to clean the ceiling. And then I did end up painting it because after all the cleaning I did find that the ceiling was porous. It had become porous, and I wanted to seal up those areas. I'll probably try the same thing here. That'll be a different story, though. Okay, I'll hit pause, and I'll do this scrubbing. Okay, I've actually now scrubbed down a section of the ceiling all the way over from on top of the refrigerator all the way over to on top of the sink. And you can see when it's been wet and it has the TSP on it now. The blotching in that area seems to be quite prominent. It may be more prominent when it's wet. So and you can see that. I'm not sure if you can see. Yeah, that's what the water looks like. It's just kind of a gray, dingy. I'm not sure exactly what it's taking off here. So my feeling now is I could do this forever and it's still going to end up being blotchy. And now I'm going to rinse this off with water. I'm going to let it dry, and then I will try putting a coat of paint on it. First, I will probably only do the section over the stove, primarily because that'll probably need more than one coat anyway. Other portions probably won't. So I'll probably just try covering that where I would say it's needed, and then see how that looks, and go from there. at some point I might end up, doing the entire ceiling. There are a number of other areas that I do have things to patch. Those aren't ready yet. So, I'll probably end up painting room by room. Okay, I'm going to rinse it now. Okay, I rinsed off the ceiling, and it's still wet, so it's not going to be the final coloration, but I expect after it dries or tomorrow when I get back to it that pattern is just there forever. And then I will put a coat of paint probably just over the stove area and just see how it looks. Probably I'll end up putting a full coat of paint on to make it all continuous, but first I will just put that section there that needs it. Okay, thanks.